Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Moss Talks, where we have more conversations and more culture. My name is Joel, co-founder and creative director for Moss Magazine.
And I'm Sydney, co-founder and editorial director for Moss Magazine.
Sydney, as co-founder and co-owner of magazine, you often feel yourself getting caught in the hustle and bustle.
I mean, yeah, once we get closer to releasing, things get a little crazy around here, or you know how my brain is. I have 1,000 sticky notes all the time, so it's easy for me to forget something. Well, not forget something. I'm not forgetful, but like I'll write down something and I don't come back to it until a little bit later. If that makes sense, because thing one, thing two, and thing three came in the way first before I could get to what I had written down originally.
Have
So
you
it
always
can just get a little chaotic.
have you always written on sticky notes, or do you prefer a notepad?
Sticky note thing just started. I don't know what that is about, but it's just tangible. Like they're always here and around, and I can, write and stick it, and I cross off what I need to cross off. And yeah, it's really bad. I'm
I
very
feel
embarrassed of my desk.
I feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like people with sticky notes have a lot. Like I think they're like naturally scatterbrained. I don't know if it's intentional, but it's just how sticky notes appear with people that love sticky notes.
I think I am like that. It's just I'm always thinking about something. There's a lot going on in this little head. So, like, my sticky notes are a reflection of my thoughts, literally
You said little
everywhere.
head.
My thoughts are literally everywhere, but they're all important. So, I write them down because they're all important and spread them out. So, I'm always surrounded by my thoughts.
Do you like when you have all these thoughts, all these sticky notes on your desk, all these things going on? Do you move back and just look at them, or do you just pick what you think is important at a time?
Oh, yeah, I'm always reading them and looking at them. A lot of the time, they really are just like to do, like tasks I need to do for the day or the week. But for the ones that have bigger ideas or just like reminders, I look at them every day. So,
Do you think about like so? Maybe maybe it's me, maybe it's me. But for me, when I think of sticky notes, having them all arranged, all like how you have them spread out, because I've seen your workspace, having them all spread out, or like in their the respectable areas.
it's not
Um,
messy.
you said that, not me. Anyways, have them all in their respectable areas. Do you ever think about how in another way or another realm or in the future, you're actually just having a spatial learning area that makes sense? Like you have tangible hologram.
Yeah, I guess that's a way to put it. I
Is
do know that if someone came and sat at my desk, they could probably see into my mind.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true. A lot of dates, a lot
Okay.
of stuff written down.
Okay.
Uh, like I feel like there's gonna be one day when you get at your office that someone's gonna clean in there, and they're gonna find a sticky note on the floor by accident that just blew to the ground, and they're gonna throw it away, and you're gonna be like, "What happened? Where is it?"
Run. I'm gonna run them cameras back.
Yeah. And you know what? You're gonna have no one to blame but
Yes,
yourself.
I am. It won't be me if
Are
someone
you
came
gonna
in my office and cleaned it.
you gonna blame the person that cleaned your office?
Yeah.
That's crazy. We've seen movies about this. Don't do that. Karma will be coming
Well,
back. You get
what's
you get
your
a magical
answer?
you get a magical niece. But what'd you
What's
say?
what's your answer to your original question
What
that
was my
you brought
question?
up?
Do I find it hard as this, or how do I escape the hustle muscle?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we have a lot going on way close to release date. But honestly, I just like when I have a lot going on, I skate or like I do something that's physical, so I can really just be myself and exist in that moment. Um, I'm more of a notebook type person. Love writing stuff down. Even though I think I don't have the best handwriting, you shouldn't think so. But I just love writing because like my handwriting stems from just normal handwriting and then a little bit of cursive.
Wait.
And I don't know. I just love it. Like it's just feel like I'm making art even though I'm just writing a note. And like it helps me block out my day. Like I'll do it based off date in order of importance. Like it'll be date, meeting with Sydney, podcast this afternoon, drive to Whole Foods or whatever you want to call it. Drive somewhere, pick up food at this time, and then that'll be how I kind of block it out. And then I'll kind of like keep going with asterisks, numbering, and however to keep
Mhm.
my task going on during the day.
Would you ever use like a Google Calendar for real or
Whatever use a what?
Google Calendar instead
Oh,
of
yeah,
writing it down?
I would use a calendar, but I'm saying like I would use a calendar to like plan things in advance, but I would use a notebook for day to day things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it like when I wake up, I'm writing down in my notebook what I put on my calendar a week ago, 2 days ago. I'm writing that down so I know this is what it is. But I can always refer back to the calendar. But my notebook's for day to day operations. My calendar's for future operations. Do you ever plan out when you're writing? Like, do you ever plan what you're about to write?
Oh yeah, I live by an outline always. I was that kid when the teacher gave you a rubric for a project. I would go through the rubric and be like, okay, this is going to get me a 4, or this is going to give me an A. And I would make sure I hit all those marks. So I would go through the rubric and then I'd do my outline. Like, okay, I need to have a title. I need an introduction that does this and that. I need to do this in my body. I need to have this type of conclusion. Oh, you got extra points for doing this. So like even now when I write, like um when I do the articles, I guess now my outlines are more transcript because then I'm going through the transcript and kind of blocking it, organizing it, or like being like, okay, this is when we talked about that. That's when we talked about that. And then I use that to help write the actual article. But I love a good outline.
I see. I'm kind of on the other side of that. When it comes to school, I stick by the outline, but I'm the type where I put a creative spin on it. So if I know I'm not presenting it, I put my own little piece in there, my own little thoughts in there. Like, um, I would say it stems from a part of reckless abandon because I want, like, at the end of the day, I'm presenting myself. If I'm writing something, I'm presenting something that I wrote. Whether, like, if it's informative, then I'm strictly sticking to the facts. But if it's something that I can be creative on and have a little freedom, then I'm putting myself out there.
I'm surprised. I would think that it would be the opposite, where like if you're presenting is when you would feel like you have more creative freedom because you'll be like orally giving the presentation, versus when you're just handing in something written, it's up to your teacher, just the audience to interpret it.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of both. I feel like it allows me to be a little more poetic in a way,
Mm.
which is a great point because our next segment is with Devon Riddick. He was a poet who was featured in issue 4. So stick around for the next segment. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Moss Talks. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Devon, an amazing poet. Thank you for joining us, Devon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor.
So to kick it off, for those that don't know, we featured you in previous issues before. So what's changed for you as a creative since then?
I would say what changed for me is really more my progress as far as like how I go about creative works. I do write poetry primarily, but I do write articles here and there and dibble and dabble on some podcasting as well, like digital media and things of that nature. So I try to have different avenues within that and kind of like poetry being the foundation.
Mhm.
um, with being featured in Moss was a truly an honor one, and it's one of my first outside publications outside of college because I do attend the Elizabeth City State University. Go by campus, but it's truly something that I try to especially since the last publication, just always keep writing and reading a lot more as far as things that will help me with my structure, formality, and just as far as things that inspire my writing.
Yeah.
So I just always try to find different things, different outlets.
Absolutely. Could you touch more on the podcast then? Because that's different. Like, what do you do there?
Well, Archives Radio is a podcast that I was able to curate through our media team, 1704 Media Productions here on campus. It's a student-led, so we all have our own different avenues and things like that. And I was able to actually start off with 1704 as a writer and poet. I submitted my works there. And over time, I was able to create a podcast. And with that podcast, I was able to talk to creatives as well on campus, locally, and some dear friends of mine, like different like fashion, so different hype. I was able to talk to my friend Drew and Early, and my friend Chase. He's an artist, has his own festival for the thrill, and with different musical artists and things of that nature. So I was able to talk to just different creatives, seeing their forefront, their starting ways of blueprinting their creative works, and kind of just implementing that into mine as well. Of course, music, the radio aspect. But so and it actually has some vinyl episodes. I'm really, really big vinyl collector, that's like a newfound hobby that I just it's crazy. It's starting to be a too expensive habit for me. So but hey, it's something I really enjoy doing. I'll spend any penny on it.
What's your favorite vinyl that you have right now?
Oh, that's my question.
Well, Sid, I'm so glad you asked. I'll have to actually bring that out for a sec, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, snap. Yes.
How do
Mhm.
he increase nonviolence? The Mad Villain himself is my favorite artist of all time, greatest rap album of all time, I'll say. It was actually my first purchase as far as a vinyl, but I would usually thrift, and I was able to find a lot of low-key things, especially in Elizabeth City. It's a lot of thrifts in Elizabeth City as a whole. There's recycling books, Shut Up and Listen records. That's where I got most of my stuff. But especially with vinyl and like collecting it, you can really tell the difference in quality and the sound within it. There's a lot of things that you can't usually get when you have a CD or a cassette, but with the vinyl, it's very like physical and intimate. So it's really something that I really enjoy collecting as well.
Wow.
Right now, I have I think about 50 records so far.
It's a good collection. And you're just getting started.
Indeed, indeed.
I say you might be graduating right in time. You about to run out of space.
Man, yes.
But for folks that's tuning in, how would you describe your poetry style in 3 words?
In 3 words, I would say very personal. Secondly, I would say it's very love oriented. I would say love is a topic that I always talk about a lot, especially when it's something that can vary as far as like the avenue within it. You can talk about love as like a partner or like family, or even within yourself, self-love, or even a lack thereof within love, kind of like just talking within how does love see you as a person, and how do you like, in a way, like bring life into it in a way. So it's always an avenue that you can always go within writing. Like it's always a topic, I would say. And I think that's where it can be like intimidating for writers, especially starting off. Like you'll never really know what to say. It's always about how you channel it within yourself. But lastly, the last word I would say is very say like authentic. Authentic, but also in a way it's inspired by certain things. So it's always something that is like I like inspired by like a song that I've listened to. I try to work with the formality, the rhyme scheme, or even the concept of the song as well. Like I'll reference the song, or like some place that I've walked or seen. I always try to implement what I live in the current time or day into the poem itself.
Just thinking back to, I believe it was you were in issue 5, Chosen Family, and just thinking about to those 3 words that you just gave us, I can already see in your poems. I think it was Mama's Haiku. Was that the official title? Yeah. Like all 3 of those words are definitely evident in your work. So what or who inspires your work these days?
I would say people that inspire me. I would say the music that I listen to. I would say like music is a really big inspiration, especially with my writing now. I'm a, I I read a lot less more than I listen to music. So
Mm.
it's really something that I try to like um appreciate more and more solely because of the fact that each artist I listen to might have a particular sound or like in a particular genre. They're all very, very different and have their own tailored sound. Like
Yes.
artists like Doom, of course, and like I mean Wu-Tang for me is like one of my favorites of all time. So I really try to like implement the meaningfulness within like their work like into mine as well. So I try to make it as I wouldn't say like exactly the same, but like with the exact same idea and intent.
Mm.
It's so when you're listening to these songs, is there like a specific thing you're listening to that is evoking emotion or inspiring you? Like, is it the lyrics? Is it how the person's singing? Is it the background music? Is the ad libs? Are there any specific things you're looking for in the music?
Definitely the lyrics, I would say. Especially when you're able to like I know for me, I usually like read the lyrics as I'm listening to it. So like I'll see as I go like, oh wow, like 'cause I'll say I'll sing the song and I might be butchering it the whole time. So it's like oh, like hey, like I have the lyrics here, and then I'll be able to analyze it in a way like this is what they meant, and kind of like tying it into what they've written and like before, like for example, like Mike, for example, like I listen to a lot of Mike, and with him, a lot of his lyricism is very like deeply rooted like within self-reflection, like internalization, like who you are, the people that you love, how do they see you in a way. And I really appreciate Mike as a whole, just like Doom, because they not only do they like, of course, like great lyricists, but they're also producers as well. So they're making music and beats that are tailored to the sound that they want to create for the audience. And I think that's in many ways that's really the blueprint of poetry as well. Like you want to make sure that, of course, it's going to be internalized. And a lot of people are fully going to understand what you're trying to say because, of course, we're all one person, but it's really meant to be tailored to a crowd. Like people will understand it, but some people might perceive it in a different way. That doesn't mean it's wrong in a way. Like poetry
Mhm.
is always going to have a different perspective for everybody. And I think that's nearly like the same as music, I would say. Like it's, and that's how I kind of like, guess like connect the two in a way.
Yeah. So pedaling back a little bit, when you're featured, when you saw your work in print for the first time, what was running through your mind?
I want to be honest, I honestly cried the first time I saw it in like on print because I've especially like the way I started like writing, it was I started writing solely on like the grief. Like I lost a family member and that kind of like inspired me to really figure out a way to emotionally like check myself in a way. Like I don't want to fall off the rails with grief anytime it happens. So I want to make sure I have a very like positive way to channel my emotions in a mature manner. And really with poetry, I was able to do that, but I was able to have people like enjoy it at the same time, like really see who I am. So I was really appreciative of that. And then having my work like usually for the first time, especially like when we having it like on campus, I was able to have different articles and poetry and things like that. But seeing it outside, like outside of the campus, outside of a local space, it really made me realize that yeah, I can really do this like seriously now because I mean my name's right there. So like I got to do it now. So it's and I wake up every day like I like I'm blessed and grateful to even have my name in anything. So it's really just a constant reminder that I can really do this seriously.
You know, we're really blessed to have you, honestly, like really blessed.
Have people responded to your poetry in a way that surprised you or taken you aback?
Yes, and kind of knowing a way solely because I would say the interaction itself is really what takes me aback. The fact that someone can read my poems and kind of like tell me a way that it made them feel that I've honestly either wasn't expecting or like never thought or heard before. So it's really a way for me to like analyze it like, hey, this is how one person is seeing it and how would I like phrase it differently for the next person in a way or how would they see it? So I would say that it doesn't really surprise me that people would see it in a different way. It's just a reminder that people will always see it differently than how I would see it. And it's always something that I always try to consider, especially when I write, because I might have a phrase or word that I usually don't always see. So I always have to consider that I might say something that like no one's gonna fully like get the first time. So I would have to like I guess like choose my words in a way that's like digestible in a way, but easy to understand.
Yeah. It's its own language in a way, I guess. The
Definitely.
translating of it all.
I had to keep the Merriam-Webster on me like at all times, especially when I write. I might think of a word, or like just scroll through and I just see a word and I'm like, okay, not, I might just take that one. So
Well, so since you've been featured and like you've been in the local papers as well, what's your dream publication or platform to be featured in one day?
I would say the Washington Post, honestly. I mean, with me being a DMV native, I would say like the Washington Post is kind of like something that's, of course, tailored to sports, as like athletics, like in the area, like, and some of my artists too, some of my favorite artists too, like Mike was featured and things like that. So I was able to, if able, of course, and if they ever see my work and they like it, I'd be honored. But honestly, like seeing my first publication with Same Faces Collective and Moss as well, like I was just honored there because I feel like regardless of the analytics or statistics, like a magazine will always get pushed through and will always find that one person. And I think the outreach is more important than the name itself. But of course, I would say Washington Post, of course, but like let's say like the Yale Review, maybe anything that's like in a way Ivy League in a way, but like clearly like they have a history track record that feature black artists and black poets, I would say.
It'll definitely happen. And when it happens, come back to this episode and listen to that clip.
I shall return indeed.
So again, you're about to graduate from college. A super, super exciting time. Um, what's next for you? Writing, professionally?
Well, I did recently get accepted into grad school for my master's. So I would get in my writing MFA. Other than that, I would just say, of course, writing, just trying to perfect my craft and things like that, and just submitting my works out and just seeing where that takes me. Honestly, I just try to take it a day at a time, like poetically at least, and then everything else will follow suit.
Do you see yourself releasing a full poetry collection in the future?
I do. I've been actually submitting some works for scrapbooks, well, chapbooks, sorry. And I've been just trying to get more manuscripts out. I've been working on another manuscript for a long time, and I've just been procrastinating with that. But I really just try to prioritize like at the moment like individual works just so I can see where it stands within the magazines that would potentially be featured in, like kind of getting a foundation of what it would look like as a published work, what's the expectation in a way, just so I can make the manuscript and kind of tailor it to the magazine that's well really more the home, because like with all poems, you just want to make sure it has a right home to go to, and you want to make sure that the right people will see it. And the same thing with a manuscript or chapbook. You want to make sure that you're tailoring it to something that is a good magazine, but also the manuscript has to really connect to you and who you are as a person. It has to reflect you in the magazine because it's going to be the first time that they see you with that. So you want to make sure that it's something that is a really good representation of who you are. And I think with my manuscript in the works, it would definitely be something that is reflective of me.
So, I do have a question. So, when you write or when you have these ideas or sparks, which I'm sure you get often, do you ever like what's your process for getting these ideas down? Do you do voice notes? Do you do notes on your phone? Do you have a pen and pad with you? Or are you like holding it in your brain till you get back to the next piece of paper?
I usually, as far as like when I write, I usually start with the title, because usually with the title, although it might not always fit the direct poem that I'm going to write, it's always solely an idea in itself. So I can stem that title into something else or start off with that. And especially in regards to poetry, it's very spontaneous in a way. Like I don't really like sit down and have like a time set for writing. I usually just like the idea kind of just gets to me and I just really just document it. Like usually in pen and paper, of course, because with that, I do write in notes as well, but it kind of like limits the formality of the poem because I would have to like use like indents and things like that. But with writing, I can just format it exactly how I want to, and then just go back and like word and type it. So
Mhm.
I really try to like mix in like if I have like a poem or like idea that I have like this is I gotta write it down. Gotta write it down now. I usually write it in notes and then I'll transfer it into pen and paper. But I would always like have a time and I'll write solely in pen and pad or like solely in notes. So I really it really all depends on the not only the idea but also the feeling that I have at the time.
There's nothing like pen and paper. I will say that.
Give me a pilot in G2 and stand out the way.
That will
You
show my age. Yep.
here.
So our last question, we want to know, what advice would you give to young poets trying to find their voice and community?
The advice I would say, and although it's a little bit cliche, but I would say just write. There's no right or wrong way to write any poem or in any facet whatsoever. The wrong way is not writing at all. So it's just all about finding your niche in the genre that you want to write, whether that's poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction, or even journalism. It's always about fully making your ideas a reality and not backtracking. So you want to make sure that you're not scared of the idea because it's solely an idea. It's you putting life into it. So it's all about you following your heart and what you have to think and allowing it to really let your creative like juices flow in a way. Like you just have to follow it. And with me, like I always doubted myself early on as a writer, although I'm only like 2 years in. I started in July of 2022. So I'm still a young one, you know what I mean? I'm still getting it there. So it's all about really believing in yourself and really believing in yourself before anyone else does, because solely at the end of the day, like we're all individualized and we're all gonna have our own way of life. So it's all about doing it with no regret and really loving the craft. I wake up every day because I love poetry because it saved my life. It's who I am, it's who I want to be. So I wake up every day with that in mind.
Amazing advice. And
Words to live by.
honestly, like it's so true. Like just do it. Like no matter how hard it is or how bad you think it is, like just work through that and keep going because who knows where you can be. I mean, you said you're a young one, but look at you. You've been published, you've been in a magazine, you've been published all across your community and now on a podcast and working your own podcast. So like there's no telling where you can go when you just, focus on your craft and keep at it, especially when it comes from the heart.
Especially, it's no wrong way to write from the heart.
So we have one more segment. We call our quick fire.
Okay, so quick fire, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions and you're just gonna
Okay.
answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay?
Got you.
Favorite poet of all time?
Robert Hayden.
Your go-to writing snack or drink?
Water or it might not be a drink, but applesauce, cinnamon applesauce.
A word you're obsessed with right now?
Indubitably.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that one. The most chaotic place you've ever written?
I've written at a kickback before.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
What's the emoji that best describes your mood lately?
The glasses with the little mustache and like the teeth, the buck teeth.
Yep.
Okay, so I gotta jump straight to number 2. Only, only so like, are you getting applesauce out the cup Or are you getting those little squeezable packets?
Out the cup, of course, out the cup.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I'll say I'll judge less. But so number 3, you said word you're obsessed with is indubitably. I'm gonna need you to expand on that.
Please define it for our audience and then tell us why you're obsessed.
I gotta get my Webster 1 sec.
I feel like when someone spells indubitably, they're like what's that song Independent, where it's like IND, what is
Oh, yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm talking about?
Thought you were gonna hit us with the banana one.
Oh nah.
BANANA.
Indubitable is not capable of being challenged or proved wrong. So, I mean, I am kind of contradicting myself because sometimes I'm right, but most of the time I do be wrong. You be wrong.
It's okay. It's good to have accountability.
Always.
I'll say I'm working on that myself. Failing though. But
Day by day, day by day.
yeah, day by day. But okay, so most chaotic place you've ever written. How do you write at a kickback?
Please tell us a story.
Well, like with the kickback, there's always a place with good spirits or with people that you really enjoy and like you're always like just having a lot of fun. So you're always in a I guess like a free spirit in a way. You're just always like in good spirits. You're not like thinking too much. It kind of just flows in. Like you get kind of like always like when I write, it's usually spontaneous. I just have that feeling that I have like I gotta write this down, and it kind of just knows no bounds in location. Like I usually write outside, but I always like find an odd place that I'm just writing. I usually write when I walk sometimes too. Like it gets crazy. So it just kind of just knows no bounds.
I say so when I think of a kickback, I'm thinking of a lot of noise, a lot like I'm thinking of Waka Flocka playing. I'm thinking of just random girls screaming, having a good time, hyping up their friend. Um, dudes barging in from outside. I'll say, is there a way that you disconnect the noise from what you're writing?
I mean, you really can't because the noise is really the source material. Like everything that you're seeing and hearing is it's in many ways it's the spark of why you're writing or like what you're writing about. Because you always want as a writer and especially in poetry, you want to write about the time and place, like as far as like currently, but you always want to, of course, reflect the past and reflect on who you are, but you can never like negate the present time. Like it's always happening around you and it's always gonna keep going. So it's always a constant reminder that like life is technically source material in a way.
So in a way, you're finding beauty in the chaos. Let's say
Life is beautiful. I mean, it's always beautiful, even when it's crazy.
that's true. That reminds me of Pursuit of Happiness. I gotta watch that now. And what's that movie? 7 Pounds. Sad movie. Love Will Smith. Both of those movies are bangers. I just watched that. But
I never watched 7 Pounds actually.
you will be crying. Just know you will be crying. Again, this has been a great episode with Devon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. It's always great to talk to you and talk more about your craft. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for giving me the platform to talk and yeah, I mean it's been an honor. I had a lot of fun. It's my first interview podcast. Like let me on the other end. So
Cause show. Who knew my luck would change? Who knew my luck would change?
I thought a year from now it'd be like here and now, and I want hit me now. Who knew my luck would change? Oh, who knew my luck would change? I thought a year from now it'd be like here and now, but I'm looking here and now.
I thought you were sharing.
Who knew my luck would change?
I thought you were sharing the audio on your computer. It sounded so clear at first. I was like,
'cause
there's
it was
no
voice.
way. But you had just gotten in here. And I was like, there's no way he did that fast.
If I could do that fast, God gave me an ability I didn't know about at birth. Anyways, that was a great conversation with Devon. love him. Like when I think of people that are poetic, it's so interesting seeing the different processes and what they're dealing with in life because, like, he's in school. Like, I would say the ability to be in school and not write about depression is inspiring.
Or even just like being a full-time student, but then still having that drive and time to do something that's not at all related to your schoolwork. Amazing. That in itself needs to be celebrated because especially like that junior senior year, things get
It's tough.
crazy. You got like a big, I don't know, it depends on your major, but it's either a really big exam, or you've got a thesis, or I can't even say the word, dissertation.
Dissertation.
Yes. So major props to him.
Yeah, and plus, like, even when you have those big exams, it's literally like what it feels like from my viewpoint. It feels like you do the exam, and then the next week you're like, all right, y'all got to get out of the building now. Bye. It's like after you find out you passed, goodbye, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was like, you got to live up them last few weeks because like having that community and just being surrounded around like your people and like that type of a space it's really is special. And then there's always so many opportunities, within
Like,
college. So
like John Legend once said, live it up, we can go crazy, you and me.
honestly, I remember my last semester senior year, I was living the best life ever.
But flying high will never come down. Never know. Yeah, that's a banger too. Who knew my luck would change? And Live It Up by John Legend. That's like two bangers right there.
I feel like by December, we're just gonna have a playlist dedicated to you and what you sing on this podcast.
I mean,
That's gonna be our recap.
I feel like if that happened, people would be very upset with me because I listen to an array of music.
I
And
know,
so
yeah.
and so like there'll be plenty for the gospel lovers. There'll be plenty for the rap enthusiasts, plenty for the R&B lovers. Like I feel like the rap lovers will only get Who Knew My Luck Would Change, Those From D's, and some random other song that just comes up.
I know what's gonna be number one.
What's number one?
Will Water.
Huh?
Will Water.
Why are you bringing that up?
Because you said gospel, that was literally the first thing that came to my mind. Like that is your song.
Because it'd be like, and it set me free,
You didn't need to sing it.
and it felt like cooling water. Yeah, cooling water. Yeah, cooling water. I feel like if I ever have a child, that's gonna be one of the songs I'm gonna sing while I'm bathing them. And it set me free.
We're ending this.
But that's the part of life. Like we said, when he was writing at the kickback, that's part of life. There's beauty in the chaos. Because as much as the child wants to get out of the bath, I'm finding the moment to love them and put them on to a great song.
I have a wrinkly baby.
They're not gonna be in there that long.
They're gonna be ready to get out, and their little fingers are gonna be. And you're gonna be calling.
They're gonna be so wrinkly they're gonna slip out of my hand. After I've been hated on for listening to Cooling Water 1,000 times and watching a wrinkly baby with love and care and setting them free, because what? It felt like cooling water. Feel free to set your emotions free by telling us your jam at info@mossmagazine.net. Again, that's info@mossmagazine.net. Tell us more about your jam and tell us how you're feeling. If you don't want to tell us jam with our friend Devon. Read more of his poems, read more on his Instagram and more in our issues. And feel free to support us at mossmagazine.net. Thank you and have a good day.